up, all my Dorks, Nerds, Geeks, and Gamers? It's your host, Ghost here, and you're watching a brand new episode of Dorks Movie Minute. Today we're going to be talking about Reno 911, the search for Qanon. Reno 911, the movie, the search for Qanon. It's not a true cinematic movie like Reno 911 Miami was. This is more of like a TV special movie that's on Paramount Plus, kind of like what South Park's doing with their specials. But this one is actually a full hour and 48 minutes, so it is a full feature-length film length. And it does have a more cinematic movie-style storyline that they're going with. But I gotta say, from the get-go, this movie starts off absolutely hilarious. With Dangle getting on this bike and these balloons coming up and the boys trapping him with these floating bike. Absolutely hilarious. He starts floating in the air, freaking out. And then we get very good moments between each member of the Reno team. So many, I don't really know all their names, but you know who they are. But they all play off each other really well comedy-wise, and that leads to the storyline where they get they have to serve Q a court order, but they don't know who Q is. Nobody knows who Q is, so they get on this booze cruise to try to find QAnon, and they end up meeting a bunch of different comedians. And different, like Patton Oswalt's there, and these are all played by different comedians, and they all play off each other. They're all suspicious of each other. It's very hilarious. And there's a lot of like just weird stuff going on with the boat captain. He's kind of crazy, and then there's crew members who were so concerned about diarrhea, like that's all they worry about. And there are also these Vietnamese crew members who carry assault rifles around and shoot at people randomly. Very hilarious. But yeah, they're all searching for QAnon. They don't know who it is, and they eventually end up confronting all these different people on the boat. They're all different members of law enforcement. We have CIA, FBI, Secret Service, all these different members all on this booze cruise trying to find QAnon, but QAnon's not there. He doesn't exist, which leads to Patton Oswalt's character, who falls in love with the blonde cop, who's kind of playing him like she did in Reno 911, where she kind of plays the floozy, and she kind of tries to get all the information from him, which leads to her falling kind of in love with him, which leads to them eventually getting to QAnon. After a bunch of craziness on the boat, you got Judy, who is going through the psycho spell. She quits taking her psycho medicine, so she starts seeing this love interest she has. She starts getting naked, and he's painting her, but he doesn't exist. He's just a plant. So very funny stuff there. And you also got your normal hilarious stuff with Dangle. And you got stuff with Ray Ray and the other cop, who are all about the Black Lives Matter jokes. And there's even a scene where they're about to die. Patton Oswalt's character arms a bomb, and they're trapped in this sex dungeon, and they're about to die. And he's like, "Oh, this is horrible for me and Ray Ray." And Dangle's like, "Oh, we're all gonna die. This is horrible for all of us." He's like, "No, you're failing to see how this is horrible for us. This is worse for us." Hilarious joke. Works really, really well in this movie particularly. But all the members worked really well off each other. They had their funny, goofy action scenes on their little mopeds. As always, they go over the top in certain areas, and they keep it expectations low in other areas, just so they can hit you with that gut punch of a joke the next second. And it works really well here. Which leads to this big battle eventually, which I knew would happen because that's kind of what happened with Reno 911. But they set this big bomb, and Dangle ends up trying to disarm it. He ends up getting blown up, and it is assumed that is the end of Dangle in that moment there. But they end up finding him back on the ship, and he's trying to hide and start a new life, but they end up recognizing him. So he gets all mad at the Reno team for recognizing him. They end up going back home, and they end up serving QAnon. That's kind of the end of the story. They find out who they are. They find out they're all just nuts, and that they just kind of need to ignore them anyway, and they've been served, and that's it. So yeah, very, very one-shot-ish movie. It doesn't really carry a whole lot of weight from the series going forward, but it is funny. It does take all the best moments of Reno 911 and mix them into a cinematic-style adventure. And I think it works really well to get another round of the Reno crew on these bigger adventures like Reno 911 Miami was. So yeah, I definitely enjoyed this movie. I thought it was hilarious. I love the old crew coming back and giving their old jokes 100% just like they did back in the day. A little thing that was strange on this one is that this one was produced by MTV, where back in the day Comedy Central was the producer of Reno 911. So I don't know if they see it more as an MTV property now and less of a Comedy Central property. But it was curious to see that in the beginning. I know they're both owned by Viacom, so it really doesn't matter. But that was just curious to see that in the beginning. But I give this one a 9 out of 10. Very solid comedy. If you're looking for a funny movie or something goofy to watch, this is it. Very hilarious, and the cast and crew, like I said, did an amazing job on this movie. Even if the writing was stale at some points, it is funny enough to keep it going and to keep you back on board once the next show comes around. But that's just my thoughts. Let me know down below what you guys thought for Reno 911, Search for QAnon. Did you guys enjoy this movie or not? Let me know down below. Until next time, guys, I've been your host, Ghost. Adios.